Probably nobody has a more thankless job during one of these storms than the folks at the Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority. They have been very busy for a very long week. Jeff LaRue joining us. Jeff, tell us a little bit about what you all have been doing since way last weekend in order to get ready for and then deal with and cope with Debby.
You know, it can be interesting. We actually start our preparing for a hurricane season in the spring.
Yeah.
At that point, we make sure everyone knows their assignments and all of our equipment's in order and our generators have plenty of fuel. Then as a named storm like Debby approaches, our water crews do things like, in this case, they were all prepared to stay at the water plants 24/7. We send them home, they get their sleeping bags and we prep for some food and then they stay at the plant. Okay. Our wastewater crews, on the other hand, we stage them in different zones throughout Beaufort and Jasper County so they can be dispatched quickly to respond to emergencies. Then we transfer our phones to an emergency call center and hunker down and wait as the storm approaches. That's sort of our preparation style.
What did you have to do during this week besides that, hunkering down and kind of waiting it out to see what was going to happen? Any curveballs get thrown at you?
Actually, not to minimize the people's experience who
Right.
had a lot of problems, but Debby was mostly uneventful, at least for our water teams.
Knock on wood.
We lost power at a couple. I'm sorry.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, right. We lost power at a few places,
Yeah.
but our generators kicked in and took care of that. Now, where we had our biggest difficulties was on the wastewater side.
Okay.
That infrastructure, pump stations and manholes and things like that, they're built in low-lying areas. So
Sure.
we had pump stations and manholes that flooded, and some of them are still flooded. That's one of the reasons we do our best to warn folks, stay out of floodwaters.
Right.
That floodwater can contain a lot of nasty critters, certainly snakes, alligators, things like that come out of the swamps, but also microorganisms that come with contaminated floodwater that's mixed with sanitary sewage water. You don't want to be in that stuff. No. It's nasty.
Did you have to issue any boil water advisories?
No boil water advisories.
Great.
Again, our water system it worked pretty much as normal. So the water at people's tap was fine. The risk comes from the flooded stormwater that's in the streets and in people's yards. And another difficulty we had was people anxious to get the floodwaters off their streets and lifting sanitary sewer manhole covers.
Oh, boy.
That was a problem because it leads to mixing of wastewater and sanitary, and we don't want that. I really would like our viewers to understand that stormwater drains and sanitary sewers are not the same. Yes, they're both pipes that convey liquid underground, but we do not want to mix stormwater or rainwater with sanitary sewage because once they mix, we have to treat all of that water as if it were sanitary sewage.
That's a huge point to make, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Jeff. So now, what's the process through the weekend as you get ready to try to get back to normal? What are the guys out doing?
Well, we're still doing some damage assessments as we can access our different areas. But like everybody else, we're trying to dry out. Some of our pump stations had electrical panels that were largely underwater. Some of those electrical sensors and things like that underwater. We're trying to dry them out. And like my teenager does when her cell phone gets wet, we're praying that when it dries out, it's going to work right. But we are prepared to make those repairs as needed as the different equipment dries out and we can put it back into service.
All right, we'll send you a bunch of bags of rice and hopefully that'll all help. Jeff, thanks so much for your time and for letting us know what we've had helping us out through all of this. And congratulations for weathering the storm. And anything different that you learned that'll be helpful next time?
Well, we learn things every time we're faced with a challenge like this, but mostly we all got some experience. And I think it was Mark Twain that said, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want.
Good way to leave it. Thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff LaRue of the Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We want to thank all of our guests for making us just a little bit smarter over the last half hour, and a special thanks to you, our viewers, for sharing your time with us. I'm Bob Stevens. If you missed anything at all, we'll be back in 90 minutes.